Go Post Show with your Go Morning team. I'm Danielle Wiggins with Maureen Kyle, Dave Chudowski, and Jasmine Monroe. It is Wednesday, April 14th, and a lot of big news to get to, top stories that we're covering this morning. So again, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. We see you out there. Good morning. Don't forget to put your name and where you are watching from. And if you have a perspective on the stories that we are covering, please share it with us in the comment section. When I'm looking over and looking at another computer, that is what I'm looking at, your comments. Now we start with the big story. You know, you might say, hey, you typically really focus on local stories for this On the Go Post Show, but really this story out of Minnesota is really impacting a lot of people across the nation. And we start with the unrest that continues in Minnesota. And Maureen, we've been on top of this all morning.
Yeah, just a lot of tension there. As you can imagine, we talked about it yesterday morning, and, we were coming into the newsroom, watching it all unfold. 60 people arrested overnight in protests. So as we know, everyone has the right to protest, but what really escalated is right around there's a 10 p.m. curfew, and about 90 minutes before, police got over a loudspeaker and said, okay, you got to disperse. If you are still out here on the streets at 10 p.m., you will be arrested. So a lot of the crowds were gathered around police headquarters there. They already have barricades up. They have fencing up around police headquarters to protect the building. And that's where people were gathered. And that's when some of the protesters started setting off fireworks. And the police say they were throwing objects at the police station and at police. So that's when they started. So they were throwing bottles, and somebody even reported a brick. So then law enforcement, they're forced to make arrests because people are not complying with the orders after they were given the warnings. We were expecting some more protests last night. This is not unexpected. It's sad to see that it became out of control and violent. But, like we were saying yesterday, that it is just a powder keg there right now, because not only is this with the latest shooting of Dante Wright, the officer yesterday. I know you talked about that, Danielle. Kim Porter, she resigned. We have more coming up on that later. But then the Derek Chauvin trial in the death of George Floyd is happening 10 miles away. And we're hearing testimony yesterday where, a use of force expert testified for the defense saying Derek Chauvin was within his right. That was lawful use of force. So you're starting to see, this is all playing out when the defense is on the stand, which also, it creates more emotion for the people who are out in the streets in protesting. And this is going fast. This trial is going fast. They could wrap up with closing arguments on Friday or Monday, depending. So we're keeping an eye on that as well.
So you can see the case coming to a close as people are still really upset about Dante Wright. And for those of you who are like, well, what really happened? What were the details about that? We've been covering this, but over the weekend, Dante Wright, 20-year-old unarmed Black man, he was stopped in a traffic stop because of, unregistered tags. And when they stopped him, they realized that there was a warrant for his arrest, and they tried to arrest him, and he got free and tried to get back into the car. And the officer, Kim Porter, said she believed that she was about to taser him, but instead she had her gun. But you do see on the video her saying, taser, 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 I'll taser you, which is a part of their training. We really much asked local officers, how do you get your taser and your gun really confused? It's interesting because, I was having conversations out in the community, and that was what someone said yesterday. They're trained, they should know the difference between a gun and a taser. And we spoke with Lakewood police. The police there said that their taser is yellow, so to make sure that they know the difference, and that the taser is lighter than a gun so that they can know the difference between weight. So again, Kim Porter and the police chief, they resigned yesterday out in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, which is right near Minneapolis, where the Derek Chauvin case is happening, that trial there. And charges are expected to come today against Kim Porter, who is a 26-year veteran of the police force in Brooklyn Center. So again, this is we have the story for those of you watching on Facebook. We have it posted in the comment section if you want to get more information about what's really going on there.
Danielle, really quick about the charges too. I think it's important to note what is on the line for Kim Porter, or what is on the line for her today. I mean, everything that we're hearing is, when you take a look at the situation, even though, let's say she really did just mistakenly grab her taser, that could be a manslaughter, an involuntary manslaughter charge. I mean, those charges, depending on the courts and depending on how judges rule, but I mean, that could be 10 years in prison. And, you know, you can take a look at if it qualifies for some sort of murder charge. It might most likely will not be a first degree murder charge, but it could fall into second or third degree, depending on how they look at the case. That's all just us sitting here predicting what other people are thinking. So we'll have to see what the charges actually are today, if she faces any at all. But there's a lot on the line for her as you know, as they go through her case, and to go from a 26-year veteran of the police force to somebody who's facing charges is just incredible for her.
I don't want to put either of you guys on the spot, but I was watching Will's story with the taser and the Lakewood police, and it's clear if you look at it, and they even say the difference in weight, and it's yellow. But how does that compare to what, you know, the weapon she has? I mean, all police departments are different, right? I mean, are they all the same?
For the majority, I know that different police departments have different things. It's crazy that we are on this story again. When I was working in Youngstown, I covered a similar story where someone was shot and killed when a police officer mistakenly grabbed his taser or grabbed his gun over his taser. So to me, when you're in your right state of mind, of course, you know exactly which side. I'm not picking a side, or I'm not stating anything. Tensions are high. You know, when police are in situations, tensions are high. I'm not saying it was right, but it's definitely something that you can see. If a suspect is trying to get away and you're trying to grab something, you're reaching for your gun. But when it's in front of you and you clearly see that a taser is yellow, it's hard to defend that. You know, for people watching that at home, the video was clear as day. She held the gun in front of her for, you can't say the amount of time because it's slowed down. We slow video down too, but it's just, you think like it's a clear as day, or it's like an honest mistake. It's always both sides, two sides to every story. But I do remember covering this story in Youngstown and them putting the Youngstown Police Department putting a gun in my hand and then putting a taser in my hand. It's literally, at least 15 pounds lighter, like at least.
So you can tell the difference. Really, when you're touching it. And it's interesting because our sister station in Minneapolis, they did a story about that. And they said that police department, they are, or maybe not that police department, but police departments are trained constantly over and over, grab for your taser, go for your taser, go for your taser. And so they do it over and over. So they do it over and over so that it becomes second nature. And the taser that they were using, though, it did look black in that one, because that was an argument too. Like, they're always yellow. And I was like, no, well, that one looks black, when we were looking at it. But so we shall see if those charges will come down today, what charges she may face, if any. So again, stay with WKYC.com and our social channels, because again, this story is not going anywhere. As you said, Maureen, we have protests overnight, even though they had the curfew that will expire at 6 a.m. their time. And they're like, we're not leaving because we want justice for Daunte Wright. So I'm not going to follow these, curfews and things like that, because they're out there protesting. And another story that we have, again, so much going on right now. I know it's, we only have a few more minutes left, but that Johnson & Johnson vaccine that many of you are talking about, the pause on it and how it affects you. Joseph, I see you with your comments. Good morning to you. Cindy saying, J&J stopped production temporarily. DeWine doesn't need to tell intelligent people not to get the vaccine at this time. So Jasmine, what's going on with the latest? Because a number of vaccination sites were supposed to use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Yeah, so pretty much, the bottom line quickly to say, the Wolstein Center was supposed to roll out that Johnson & Johnson vaccine within the next few weeks. They are halting that. So if you're still interested in getting the vaccine, I want to let people know that the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine is what they've been giving out at the Wolstein Center. So you can still get that. And, there's still no side effects when it comes to blood clotting with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine as of right now. But other school districts like Kent State, the University of Akron, Miami University, the University of Toledo, Ohio University, all of these universities were giving out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And this morning, we were able to see the interview with 2 students who received the vaccine, and they, instantly said, almost regret getting this vaccine. When I heard the news, one girl said, my heart dropped soon as she heard this news. But the bottom line is, these are the side effects that come with vaccine. This is, rolling out brand new. A lot of people wanted to get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it was one and done. But sometimes that's to me, I'm thinking personally, I'm not a scientist, but it's the too much of a dosage at once. I'm thinking, when you get your first vaccine, you have 2 weeks to recover from that. And then you get your additional vaccine, and then you can recover from that. So to me personally, I'm just thinking it's just too much of a dosage. Every other company rolled out 2 separate vaccines, and Johnson & Johnson tried to, do it all in one. Of course, we all like convenience. Going to the doctors or the clinic to get your vaccine one and done would be amazing. But as of right now, Governor Mike DeWine is just saying, hold off on getting those Johnson & Johnson vaccines. A doctor pretty much spelled it out. Transparency. We all want transparency. We all say the government is trying to hide this and they're trying to keep this a secret. And now they're finally saying, we messed up. We're pulling it back. And, you can take it how you want to take it. It's up to you. Sites are pulling it back, the vaccination back. So I don't even think that you can try to get it in Ohio now. So it's just up to you. Still, this is all a personal, your household decision, making the best decision for your household. It just goes back to paying attention, reading, and learning all information before you make your decision.
And my thought too, really quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we got it. We're going to go in a second. But, any vaccine, any medication, people have different reactions to it. Right. You got to keep that in mind too. And that's something that they have to keep in mind. And this is happening as they're rolling it out. I mean, we haven't had years and years and years of trying this out. I mean, I know personally, I can't take codeine. And so I have to tell that to the doctor when I go take medicine, but I'm fine with the flu shot. So it's a risky trial and error to do it this way. They knew that. They've warned people, and it's a handful of people in millions, but still, I mean, they're going to take every precaution.
Mo and Dave do have to go, but yes, as Maureen said, we do have 6 people, women, who've had the blood clots. One did pass away, but remember, it's almost 7 million people have gotten been administered the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So that's 6 out of 7 million. So again, that term that we hear all the time, abundance of caution. That's why they're doing this. As we close, I do want to let you all know, because people are worried about, I just got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. What should I be looking for? Here are the symptoms that if you are experiencing severe headache, abdominal pain, see you, Mo. Abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath. So those are the signs of a blood clot. I do want to let you know again, rare symptoms. They are severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath. And they typically come about 6 from the people who had received those blood clots or developed those blood clots. They came between 6 and 13 days after vaccination. So again, we have all of this information on WKYC.com. Thank you, Jasmine, for being on this story, doing a great job keeping everyone up to date. If you have any questions, go ahead, put them in the comment section. We'll look through everything. And we thank you for spending a few minutes with us on this On The Go Post Show. We'll see you tomorrow morning, starting at 4:30 a.m. on Go.